Speaking on BBC's Any Questions? The American author claimed the only reason talks around the Irish border issue in the Brexit negotiations were proving to be problematic was that the EU was trying to use it as an excuse to stop Brexit going through. Ms. Shriver, a supporter of the Leave vote, also blamed the left-wing Irish Republican Party Sinn Féin for contributing to the pessimistic rhetoric around the border issue. She said, "The situation is not that fragile, Sinn Féin would like you to think it is. Behind this terror about the Good Friday Agreement is the usual threat of violence. So I don't respond to it. I find the whole Irish border thing is trumped up if Americans can say that anymore." Channel 4's Brexit News. US author tears apart EU's scaremongering approach to negotiations, and it's being used by the Irish who do not want Brexit to go through and by the EU who also do not want Brexit to go through. It is entirely soluble, it is being dealt with as if is not because it suits certain parties' purposes for it to be insoluble. It's the EU that would institute the hard border. The EU is acting helpless in the face of its own bureaucracy. On Monday, British officials announced Britain's Brexit negotiators were working on a proposal which would break the lock over the Irish border issue and set a new customs arrangement between the UK and the EU. The EU is acting helpless in the face of its own bureaucracy. Lionel Shriver. The plan is an alternative to the backstop text put forward by the EU and aims to avoid the creation of a hard border between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. UK's chief Brexit civil servant Ollie Robbins led a team of officials to Brussels to forge a successful withdrawal agreement that includes a solution to the Irish problem and avoids an exit from the EU without a deal. Anonymous sources within the team told Politico the British proposal would see the UK aligning to single market rules and regulations for trade in goods and agree on a new customs arrangements between the UK and the EU. The solution could be considered fitting by the EU and the UK and even the Democratic Unionist Party, but officials are afraid the European Commission might consider it a form of cherry-picking and block it. Brexit Secretary David Davis has insisted a solution will be found to the Irish border issue after Brexit with the most comprehensive trade deal with the bloc, which would make the border problem much easier to solve. Mr. Davis said the government was committed to protecting the Good Friday Agreement at all costs. There is a risk in trying to focus just on the downsides because the real likely outcome, the overwhelmingly likely outcome, is option A, he told BBC's Andrew Marshall last week. He added, "Option A is that we get a free trade agreement, we get a customs agreement, all of those make the Northern Ireland issue much, much easier to solve." The EU withdrawal deal drafted in December included a fallback option of Northern Ireland effectively continuing to remain in the customs union, but Mr. Davis said either the UK-EU Brexit trade deal or new technology could prevent that. When challenged that there were no other borders of that kind in the world, Mr. Davis told the Andrew Marr Show, "We have got a whole load of new technology now. There are ways to do this, you can't just say we haven't done it anywhere else. We haven't attempted to do it anywhere else."